Jacob Elordi is scary, and he's actually at his best when he's being scary. Like, he's the best as Nate Jacobs, the creature in Frankenstein, and as Elvis. Like, he's good when he's being threatening.
I feel like in Frankenstein, though, he's not even really threatening. Like, what I love in that performance is the vulnerability that he brings to the creature.
Yes, I agree with that too. I think it's more that just like, I mean, Guillermo del Toro has talked about it. Like, has been like, he's just a gigantic dude who's like inherently like physically imposing.
Yeah.
You have to lean into the fact that like Jacob Elordi is a massive dude. He's like 6'5" and just like big. Like, I mean, there are scenes in Wuthering Heights where they like show his hands, and it's like, I think Guillermo del Toro described him as like monstrous, and it's like he's a massive dude.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think that like I'm not trying to say that if you play into that makes up for not playing up the racial aspects of Heath Ledger's character, but I do feel like if they had played that up, one could make the argument of like, we're still showing the way he is othered by his physical presence.
And he's just not even really like othered in the movie. It's so weird. I was saying to the friends who I saw it with last night, like, it's not even that it's a bad Wuthering Heights adaptation. Like, yes, it's a bad Wuthering Heights adaptation that does nothing for the book, and I don't really even know how it's related to the book in many instances, but I also just thought it was a bad movie. However, there was this movie's ending, right? These girls are full body loudly sobbing, can hear it over the Charlie XCX score. I'm literally so thrilled for them. I did not have that experience, and then they were in line for the bathroom behind me. There was a group of like, I don't know, 16, 17-year-old girls, and they're just like sobbing, and I'm like, this isn't for me. No. This is how I felt about Twilight when I was younger than them, when I was like 13, 14. And now about Twilight, I'm like, ugh. And so hopefully one day they will see the light that there are better romance films out there that are not whatever the fuck was going on there.
Speaking of villainous men who we're attracted to, hello.
I knew this was going to be your transition.
I mean, it's just too perfect.
I know.
Hello and welcome to Informed Attraction, a podcast hosted by one joker with magic and one evil queen. A podcast about how ladies love when a man is vaguely reptilian. I'm Dr. Aubrey Hoffer.
I'm Mackenna Goodrich. You know what's interesting? No, you know what? You've been accused of being a witch by Annie so many times. I do think in this instance, I'm the Joker, and I'm the Joker baby, and you're the evil queen.
Yes,
because you have faced many a witch accusation.
If I was in Salem, I would have been done.
Or if you were just, Amber Heard, and this was a group text between Paul Bettany and Johnny Depp. Found out about that this week via Aubrey. Yeah. Found that very upsetting.
It is. Unfortunately, you really can't be attracted to any man in Hollywood unless it's Robert Carlyle.
I thought you were going to say Robert Pattinson, and I was like, sure, okay. Weird, Paul.
So, as I just mentioned, Robert Carlyle, today's episode is about the show Once Upon a Time, specifically the character of Rumplestiltskin. So, I have always enjoyed fandoms and fandom discourse for bad TV shows more than actually watching the TV shows themselves. So because of that, I have a ton of knowledge about the fandom lore of various CW shows. Once Upon a Time was an ABC show, not a CW show. But I was like, am I gaslighting myself in my own memories right now?
But
it's like the same vein where the CW shows were not very good quality, but had really intense fandoms around them. And I think Once Upon a Time is spiritually in that vein where...
What shows you talking shit about right now?
The 100.
Oh, okay. That one's fine. That wasn't one of my blorbos.
Well, because you had who were your blorbos on the CW?
Well, I loved Supernatural.
Yeah.
Famously, I loved Supernatural. Which I think in many ways goes the way... The beginning of Supernatural is legitimately, I think, great TV, incredible TV, gorgeous plot, really interesting stuff going on. By the end, you're like, guys, what are we doing? We did not need to make 20-something seasons of this. I think it's 18. I don't know how many seasons it is. And then the other one, and this one, okay, this one is embarrassing, but also no, it's not, because it's a perfect soap opera. I love Riverdale.
I know. I was just telling my friends last night how you love Riverdale.
I do, because it's a perfect soap. You just have to get in the mindset of it being a soap opera. And I think it requires having grown up, watching soaps or, telenovelas to, appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Because it's a soap. And but because it's not shot like a soap, it's not a multicam. People don't get that it's a soap opera. But, it's a soap opera. Mm-hmm. Anyway. One day we'll talk about Riverdale. email@fanfiction@gmail.com.
I never had one that I really kept up with. My relationship with these was always like, watch the season that people say is like good, and then as soon as it gets bad, abandon ship. So like I've watched like Grey's Anatomy. I've watched Once Upon a Time. I've watched I mean, honestly, my favorite of all of them was probably The Flash.
Oh, I loved The Flash. The Flash was really good until it was bad.
Yeah.
Did you do Vampire Diaries?
I have tried as an adult to watch Vampire Diaries 3 times, and I can never make it past like 4 episodes. Because I feel like I should just probably be watching True Blood.
Yeah. And then you'd be with Mr. Skarsgård.
The universe has been putting him in front of me lately.
As they should.
Well, because you're a Skarsgård.
Another perfect, gigantic man
Well,
who's a little freak. Another perfect, gigantic, monstrous man who's a little bit of a freak.
well, you're a Skarsgårdian, and then Loey is a Skarsgårdian, so I just feel I have constant Skarsgård thrown at me. I'm a Bill Skarsgård
You're
girl.
also a Skarsgårdian. You're just a Skarsgårdian for the Bill kind.
For the little weird one that nobody is as
I
into.
love Billiam.
Not as much as you love, Alex.
Well, no, because I love big, giant men who usually play evildoers.
I like a little freak.
I have mental health problems. I'm not doing okay.
I feel like though my attraction to Bill Skarsgård and the attraction to Robert Carlyle, there's synergy.
Yes.
There's synergy in this.
But before we actually talk about this episode today, I will say last night I was starting to we were at dinner and I was talking about we've been talking about my one moment of being attracted to Jacob Elordi in Wuthering Heights. Only scene where I'm attracted to him is the one where he looks at Isabella and is like, I don't respect you. I'm never gonna love you. I'm only with you to get back at Kathy. And I was like, why am I horny right now? But then I started talking about a guy who I've been seeing who wasn't great. And then I was like, but and Mark goes, nope, we're not, you're not, I saw that little look in your eyes. You're not about to start trying to make excuses. And I was like, okay, all right. Anyway, Robert Carlyle.
So when it comes to Once Upon a Time, I actually only ever watched the first season because I realized when I was doing research for this, I never actually got to the point where Captain Hook showed up.
Oh my god, you didn't? Wait, I have to send you a really good video. There's a video of a guy who he does something that you talked about before, where he only watches the first and last episode of a TV series. Mm-hmm. He doesn't do the thing that you've talked about before, which is then having someone who loves it talk about it with him. But let me send you the one for Once Upon a Time. And this is maybe, we can talk about this next week or something, but I would be so curious to hear your thoughts on just watching what Dylan watches of the finale, because it's gonna blow your brain. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I've read about the entire last season.
Okay, I'm just gonna send you this. I'm gonna text this to you, and it's too long for you to watch right now, but watch it over the next week.
I mean, I will say I've watched fan edits of Captain Hook. I know I've seen the scenes. I know the moments. That's the thing. I'm in the fandom.
This is not even what I'm talking about. I am talking about how egregious the finale of this TV show is.
Yeah.
So that is what, watch that, and then we'll do a wraparound later.
Yeah, I'll talk about it later, but basically the entire main cast leaves for the last season.
Yes.
And so then they're like, fuck it, we're setting it in Seattle, and everyone is a different character now.
And the CGI is genuinely insane.
Hilarious.
I need you to watch it. I don't need you to watch the episode, I need you to watch this man watch it.
Okay. So I only watched the first season of Once Upon a Time, but I really enjoyed fandom discussion, fan fictions, discourse around the character of Rumplestiltskin, who is portrayed by actor Robert Carlyle, who I love a lot. Is genuinely, I am disappointed that when Mackenna asked for an example of a character actor, I didn't immediately say Robert Carlyle, because he is...
I thought you were going to say you were disappointed in me.
No, I'm disappointed in me, because to me, he's, the perfect example of a character actor.
Well, it's funny, too, because we had just talked about it, because we had talked about doing this episode, and we were like, 28 weeks later, the Full Monty, Trainspotting.
I'm not going to talk I'm going to focus this episode more on Rumpelstiltskin than Robert Carlyle, and basically my only notes on Robert Carlyle himself are just oh my god, he's in so many good things, and is such a, committed actor, and I love that.
He's playing Jack Ruby in something.
Yeah, about the whole JFK thing.
About Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald.
I found the cult of fandom around him as a character really interesting. It really reminds me, the sort of thesis statement I'm making is that it reminds me a lot of like the fandom around like Snape from Harry Potter, Loki from MCU, even like Kylo Ren, like where I think more in the vein of Snape, it's usually like older women who are in the fandom really gravitate towards these like morally gray, frankly, like morally quite dark characters.
Yeah.
And then, you know, kind of woobifies them, but not always. But it just seems like there's a really similar kind of cadence within those fandoms.
Yeah. It's so funny, specifically thinking about the Kylo Ren one, because I remember so viscerally when he took the helmet off in The Force Awakens. And I was with my brother, both my brothers, and my older brother's best friend, Gary. And he takes the helmet off, and we all look at her, and it was like, that fucking guy? What a normal, like, looking dude. Because Adam Driver was perfect casting for Kylo Ren. And, like, now I'm like, Adam Driver, why are you so sexy? But when he first takes that helmet off, you're like, that's just some fucking guy. And it was like, it was perfect.
I've always seen the allure.
No, I have too. It's not that though. It's just like, he doesn't give evil immediately. Like, he doesn't have like a big scar on his face. Like, it's just like, you're like, that fucking guy? That fucking guy who's shockingly not Jewish?
Shockingly. The same way Ariana Grande is a white.
I mean, she's been everything. So
She's been everything. Or Taylor Lautner is also a white.
oh yeah. That one was really crazy.
That one is
for
crazy
so many
because, like,
reasons.
while they were doing Twilight, he, like, I know that, like, the management made him be like,
Yes.
I have Native American blood in my veins. And it's like,
Yeah.
that was just a straight up lie.
That was just a tan German dude.
So, I just think, I would say that Rumple is probably the second most, like, lusted after male character on the show. Captain Hook is probably number one, at least in
You're
terms
right.
of, like, fan fictions on AO3. I did the research,
Which is crazy
guys.
because Jamie Dornan is in this show.
Only for, like, 9 episodes, though.
I know, but that, can I say, spoiler for Once Upon a Time, when Jamie Dornan died, I was like, what is the point of watching this show anymore?
That's how I felt,
literally
too.
was so upset about it. I was like, that's the sexiest man alive. I don't want to watch this anymore.
So, and the thing is, all of the men on the show are these, like, Hollywood handsome men. So I just think it's really interesting that, like, when you look at, like, the proportion of fan fiction that's about the characters, it's like, number 1, attractive bad boy. Number 2, little freak.
Yeah.
Then number 3, back to Hollywood handsome.
Who? Josh Dallas or Jamie Dornan?
Josh Dallas.
Yeah. I also think, I don't think...
Not to count out the lesbians who are into this show, because there are a lot. There's a lot
Yes.
of love for, specifically Emma and Regina.
I find him very handsome. He is very, very beautiful to me. But I don't think the guy who plays Jiminy Cricket is, like, Hollywood handsome.
I don't even remember who that is.
He's Henry's therapist in the real world.
I probably found him attractive.
He's so cute. He's so sweet. He has like basically he wears like the same glasses that I'm wearing right now, which are like, you know, the little oval 2000s glasses.
Oh, I do. He was sexy.
He's so cute. He's so sweet.
So today is going to be a sort of dive into the TV show Once Upon a Time, its shockingly intricate lore, and the appeal of Rumple. So, what is Once Upon a Time?
Aubrey, I got a question for you. What is Once Upon a Time?
A show full of hot TV actors. Once Upon a Time is an American fantasy adventure drama series that aired for 7 seasons on ABC from October 23rd, 2011 to May 18th, 2018. Essentially, the action of the show alternates between 2 main settings. You have a fantastical world where fairy tales happen, and then a fictional seaside town in Maine called Storybrooke. Essentially, the real-world part of the story unfolds when the character Emma Swan and her 10-year-old son Henry Mills go to Storybrooke. Henry discovers that the other people of the town are fairy tale characters. And essentially the conceit of the show is that the audience is shown the backstory of the town's people as fairy tale characters in conjunction with their unfolding stories in the real world. So the episodes usually have one segment that details the characters' past lives, which sort of adds a piece to the puzzle about the characters and their connection to the events that preceded the curse, which cursed them all out of the fairy tale land and into the real world. And then the other segment is set in present day, follows a similar pattern with a different outcome, but also offers similar insights. So for this episode, I asked Mackenna to watch the first episode of Once Upon a Time, and I would like you to just give us, I think I gave pretty much the rundown of kind of what the episode is, but you can sort of fill that outline out a little bit more. But I specifically asked you to watch it from sort of the lens of, you are a director, you understand what the casting process is like. I think this show is impeccably cast, and a lot of the roles on this show were written specifically for the actors who end up portraying the characters. So I'm really curious if you can kind of like walk us through kind of the major players in the show, and like, for you as a director, what do you think was going on in the minds of the writers and the showrunners when they were like, oh, we want X person for Y character?
Sure. That's going to be hard, but that's okay.
That's okay.
So,
mainly for, like, I'm thinking specifically, like, for Snow White and then for Rumple.
Sure. I can talk a little. I thought a little bit about those too. So I think the episode starts and basically the evil queen shows. We're in the fairy tale world. The evil queen shows up to Prince Charming and Snow White's wedding, and she's like, "You didn't invite me, you bitches. I'm gonna ruin everyone's shit, and you won't know when and you won't know where, but it's gonna happen." And the story we get through the time is that they're like, Snow White is pregnant. She's like, we should go have Rumplestiltskin protect our baby. They go to Rumplestiltskin. I'll stop that story there. Cut to, we're in the real world. In the real world, this bail bondsman named Emma goes on a date on her 28th birthday. Yes, that made me feel weird. I was like, she's 28? Okay, all right, I got feelings about that. She goes on a date, and then her son, who she gave up for adoption, shows up and is like, I'm your kid. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I'm here now. And she's like, cool. And then he's like, she's like, I'm taking you home. And so she drives him to Storybook.
I probably called it
Storybook.
I probably called it Storybook because it's fairy tales. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah. He's like, you drive me home. And so she is driving him back to Storybook, Maine, wherein he tells her that fairy tales are real and like she is a part of like the fairy tale book that he's holding. And then we cut back to the fairy tale world, and it's like Rumpelstiltskin's like, what is your daughter's name? And they're like, Emma. And it's like, oh my god, the blonde girl is the baby, which I kind of forgot they revealed in the first episode. Honestly, I thought that was like a reveal later on, but no, it's like first 15 minutes of the episode.
They gotta hook ya.
So they make it to Storybook, and Henry's adoptive mother is the woman who we have seen in the fairy tale world as the evil queen. And so we, the audience, are like, oh my fucking god. But Emma's like, cool, it's his mom, I guess. And sexy Jamie Dornan is there because he's the sheriff of the town. And so she tries to drive out of town and then almost hits a wolf and runs into the sign. And so she decides to stay for a little bit. And that's sort of the first episode. I think this is also where we're introduced to the fact that Snow White and Prince Charming are not together.
Well, because he has, like, amnesia, I thought, or something.
Oh, yes, he does have amnesia. I think that's it. Is that the first episode?
Probably.
Casting-wise, I think a thing to say is, so Ginnifer Goodwin, who we have kind of talked about on this show before because she's Judy Hopps, is, who plays Snow White. And she just, like, gives Snow White...
She just looks so sweet.
She does, but, like, I think what's good, because like, when you think about, I feel like for so many people, they are going to be thinking about the Disney version of these characters, which the show does totally play into. And so I think it's good because Ginnifer Goodwin does, like, have a little bit of an edge to her.
Mhm.
She's not anywhere near as much as Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma, does. They're good foils for each other in that way. But even in the, like, fairy tale scenes, like, Ginnifer Goodwin is not just, like, chilling.
Yeah.
She's very, like, proactive. She wants to protect her kid. She stands up to the evil queen. I think at this point, like, the first time I saw Ginnifer Goodwin in something, it was in the movie Mona Lisa Smile.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, I would imagine, like, Connie is, like, pretty, I'm trying to remember her character in Mona Lisa Smile. But, like, she's like, been in, like, feminist shit before.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that, like, that makes sense to, like, put her in this position where you don't have, like, your sort of main princess for the show be so just like a damsel in distress, especially because, like, Snow White kind of classically is very damsel in distress-y.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just think that she's really good casting for that character because she's not going to be so soft that it just becomes like Mary Sue-y
Mhm.
or damsel in distress-y.
Yeah.
I think then the thing with Robert Carlyle that's really interesting is obviously he's like a really great character actor, and I think he's in like a very specific position because he looks the most different between of like the major, well, okay, I shouldn't say that because we have Jiminy Cricket, but of like I would say our major characters, our major players, who I would say are in the first season Regina, the Huntsman, Snow White, Prince Charming, and Rumpelstiltskin. Like, he looks the most different than how he looks in the real world. And I think it's really useful here because he's so unassuming in the real world. He's a watchmaker at the antique store.
I think he just is like the richest man in town. So I think he owns the antique store.
Yeah.
And just has a lot of money is like his character.
Yeah. And so he's just like, he's pretty like nice, seemingly nice in Storybrooke. And so I think that like then, and he like speaks in his regular accent when he is in Storybrooke. And then he talks in his little like gremlin voice when he's Rumpelstiltskin and he's got like scaly ass skin.
Magic always comes with a price. I love when he says that.
Yeah, so I think that he like very much is good casting because he's a character actor, so he's able to like play those two pretty distinct roles really well. Yeah, because like as Mr. Gold, he's just like a guy, just like a cool normal rich guy. And then because he also, I mean, they do so many things with him because he's like technically like a lot of different characters because he's also the Beast.
Yeah.
And he's also the Crocodile.
Yeah.
So he is technically Rumpelstiltskin, the crocodile from Peter Pan, and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And so they're doing a lot with his character. And so he's sort of like playing this like pretty big role, not just like size-wise, but like he's like encompassing a lot of these fairy tale characters.
He's just kind of like the ultimate villain of the show for the most part.
Yeah, but I think it's really important that like literally like okay, just for, not for nothing. I mean, obviously we're primed for it because we see Regina, we're like, that's the evil queen. But like you're also kind of like, I don't trust her. Like someone is lying.
Right.
Whereas like I don't think you immediately distrust Mr. Gold, which is interesting because I think that like I forget when it's revealed who is aware of the curse and who is not. And like I think you can get pretty early on that like Regina knows what's up.
Yeah. And he actually doesn't. Like Rumple at first or Mr. Gold doesn't know that he's a fairy tale character until a few episodes in where something happens with Emma and then he remembers everything and then he's just kind of like
yeah. And so I don't know, I think that he is probably the most dynamic character in the whole thing, I would say.
Yeah, so just to talk a little bit about the kind of production of Once Upon a Time and the kind of origins of the show. Once Upon a Time was created by the writers of Lost and Tron Legacy, Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz. It was really a passion project for both of them. They had started talking about wanting to do this show while they were still making Lost and had pitched it to networks while Lost was happening, but nobody really bit, and they really just kind of kept working on the idea until years later when they were able to pitch it again. The way that they tend to describe the show is that they wanted to do a show that was optimistic at its heart and wanted the show to be a sort of like beacon of light at a time when they felt like a lot of TV shows were really focused on like the bad parts of the world and wanting to see the trials and tribulations of life and being able to persevere and find light amongst darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is interesting because I think later seasons get really angsty, but
they do.
Fuck it. Sure. So the Disney of it all is that I don't think that it was really that much of a, like, specifically Disney fairy tale soap opera at first.
I agree.
But somewhere around, I think, season 4, I think they really got a push from Disney, because Disney owns ABC, to, like, integrate more specific Disney characters into the show. So starting in season 4, you used to have characters from Frozen and Brave start to show up, which is... Yeah. When I think most people agree that the show sort of jumps the shark, the consensus I see from most people is that the first 2 seasons, most people think are quite good. Season 3, people are like, okay, like, it's got its moments. Season 4 is where it jumps the shark. 5 and 6 are not very good. And then 7 is just straight up unwatchable.
Oh, I did a bad job of explaining the plot of the first episode earlier, and I would like to say more about the ending of the first episode.
Okay.
Okay. After Emma gets into this car crash with the wolf. See, this was a commercial break, and now we're back. We're back from our commercial. She gets put in jail. And he's like, you must have been drunk driving. The sheriff, sexy Jamie Dornan, is like, you must have been drunk driving. And she's like, okay. And then Henry has run away again. And they're like, fuck, this kid's gone again. And that's when Emma meets Snow White, Mary Margaret, who is a teacher, but she is volunteering at the hospital. And we have this John Doe who has amnesia, who is Prince Charming. That is important because it's the jog my memory is because it's a role reversal of how the Snow White story is, because he in Snow White story, like she is encased in a thing of glass and then he kisses her, true love's kiss, wakes her up. And in Storybrooke, it's like a role reversal because he is this guy, this like beautiful man with amnesia. And they like even have him in this like glass room. Mary Margaret like reveals she's the one who like helped him find Emma and is the one who gave Henry the fairy tale book. And the other, like, kind of important thing that I didn't mention was that the reason Emma was, like, able to, like, no one can leave Storybrooke. The reason Emma was able to is because she was put into this, like, thing made of a tree that Geppetto and Pinocchio built, and that's why she was able to get out of the town. But now that she's back, I think she is stuck. I don't remember if she is stuck or not, because I only rewatched the first episode. And then also, the town's clock has been frozen at 3:15 since they all got transported to the real world. And now that Emma's back, it finally starts moving again.
And you might be like, but if Snow White and Prince Charming are her parents, then they must be a lot older than her, right? No, everyone got transported in like their 20s basically, and they're all just in their 20s. Because it's TV.
They're all just like frozen in time is sort of my understanding. I'm very curious about how time works in this show, which is not really what we're talking about today, but like I am curious about how time works in this show. And I feel like they probably did explain it at some point, but it's like, it kind of seems like they've all just been kind of living in stasis while like 28 years of Emma's life has happened.
Essentially, and like Henry is 10 and like grew up in the town.
Yeah.
So... just to speak a little bit more to the casting note, pretty much everyone who the showrunners initially wanted for roles in the series accepted after being sent scripts. Jennifer Goodwin accepted immediately, as the showrunners were big fans of her from the HBO show Big Love, and they wrote the character of Snow White specifically with her in mind.
I have not seen Big Love.
I've heard it's great. It's a show about basically like a polygamous Mormon family.
Yeah.
I've heard wonderful things about it. We would be remiss if we didn't mention that Jennifer Goodwin is married to Josh Dallas, who plays Prince Charming, and they literally fell in love playing Snow White and Prince Charming, and like got married and had children. So Once Upon a Time is obviously probably a big deal for them, because it's literally how they met and fell in love and created their family.
That's why he has a cameo voice in Zootopia.
He really reached in that relationship to be, like, he's a handsome, great man, but, like, she is a superstar, and he's just Ken.
Sure. It's just so rare you say something like that.
Pro-woman.
Yes.
So the first season was a top-rated series. The pilot series was watched by 13 million viewers, and it was the season's highest-rated drama debut among 18 to 49-year-olds, and it was ABC's biggest debut in 5 years. So basically, was a really big deal when the show came out. It was the #1 non-sports program in the US, with viewers and young adults on Sunday nights for the entire first season. So naturally, they try to capitalize on the success of this show. So somewhere around, I think, season 3 of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland comes out, consisting of 13 episodes featuring the title character of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. It ran for 1 season and flopped super hard, but if anybody is ever like, wow, the Patreon is up and I demand content, I will watch all 13 episodes and I will review it in great depth, because just watching the trailer of it, it looked really, really bad.
What is it called?
Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Oh.
So rather than like fairy tales, it was supposed to be more in like the classic literature realm.
Oh, I don't think I even ever heard of this. I'm looking it up.
But then I think like the villain of it was Jafar from Aladdin.
Sure.
Because fuck it, sure.
The series follows Alice on a new adventure in Wonderland featuring characters like the Knave of Hearts, the White Rabbit, and Jafar, and explored her love of a genie.
Fuck it, sure.
Yeah, okay.
So now to actually talk about our protagonist of this episode, Rumpelstiltskin. Rumple is the most powerful character in the Once Upon a Time universe.
The dark one.
He has to get nerfed repeatedly because he is actually kind of a Mary Sue with the amount of power that he has in the show, because he can essentially just make fucking anything happen. Like, the whole thing of his character is that somebody comes in and he's just like holding an antique that could literally destroy the fabric of the universe, and then he's like, "What would you like, dearie?" And it's like, oh my god, you are literally able to kill us all right now.
I know, and it's like, I don't really, like, it's so funny, because, like, in the, obviously it's a TV show, so they have to, like, work out a plot, but, like, in the fairy tale realm, they're like, the only thing we can do to do anything is to build a thing out of this tree, and we can protect one person, and then it's like, great, and now we have to contend with those people in the real world again?
Yeah. I'm gonna explain Rumple's fuck-ass family lore.
Oh my god, They really said, we need this guy to be every villain, so we're gonna do some crazy shit. But also, this episode was really sad when they first reveal, like, Rumple's background. Yeah. It made me very sad.
That's why the fans love him, is they see the complexities of his character.
Right, the Snape comparison is quite apt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to only use fairy tale names, because if I try to go back and forth with, like, Mr. Gold, Rumple, it's just gonna be too much. So, Rumpelstiltskin is the son of Peter Pan and the Black Fairy. Rumpelstiltskin was married to a woman named Mila. Could be Mila or Mila. Sorry, guys. Again, did not watch season 2 of Once Upon a Time.
Married to Mila Kunis.
Yes. They have a son named...
Not really. It is believable that Mila Kunis would be in the show. It's not married to Mila Kunis.
So he was married to Mila, and they have a son named Balfire. Mila dies. Balfire is Henry's dad.
Yeah.
So protagonist Emma, her son's baby daddy, is Rumpelstiltskin's son. Before Mila died, she left Rumple for Captain Hook, who later marries Emma and has a baby with her. Later, Rumpelstiltskin marries Belle, and they have a son named Gideon. So, he is the son of Peter Pan and the Black Fairy, the husband of Belle, Balfire and Gideon's father, and Henry's grandfather.
Uh-huh.
Do we see the family tree? Do I need to bring out the diagrams?
I understand it.
Okay. So, in the real world, Rumple is a character named Mr. Gold, and as Mackenna said, he is also the Dark One, the Beast, and the Crocodile, depending on what context he's being villainous in.
Yep.
His character is based on the German fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin, with elements imported from Beauty and the Beast and Peter Pan, and also when there's a Cinderella plot later, he is also the fairy godmother.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah, essentially, he is feared by everyone and controlled by almost no one, except for Belle, because his arc is naturally also being the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
I remember that when that happened, I was like, that's a fucking cop-out. Give me a Beast costume. I was pissed. I was like, give me a Beast costume. It's very sweet. It is actually
It's actually such a good episode.
It's actually such a good episode. It's a very good plot line, but I was a little bit like, I don't get a big fairy suit. Mackenna furry reveal, I guess? No, I actually, the Beast from Being the Beast is nothing for me. I'm all about Lumiere. I'm all about that candlestick, baby.
And that's Stanley Tucci plays Lumiere, doesn't he?
No.
Who plays Lumiere?
I think it's Ewan McGregor. Hold on.
I want to see Stanley Tucci Lumiere.
It was Ewan McGregor. I locked the fuck in.
So essentially, in order to save Balefire from the
Stanley Tucci plays Cadenza.
What the fuck is that? Is that like a big dresser?
Do you not remember Cadenza?
How could I forget Cadenza? Who plays him in Once Upon a Time?
He's the Cadenza. And then he falls in love with the wardrobe, I think.
He likes them big.
Yep.
Okay, so
do you not remember the greatest movie of all time, Beauty and the Beast, starring Emma Watson?
I saw that in theaters.
Me too.
Crazy. So, in order to save his son Balefire from the Second Ogre War,
Of course, by the way.
Rumpelstiltskin becomes the Dark One, which is basically becoming an immortal and almighty sorcerer who can only be controlled by one specific dagger, which is the tip piece of Excalibur that has his name written on it.
Of course.
Essentially, this makes him start to be fucking evil.
Yep.
When Balefire noticed that he was becoming more and more evil, he left and jumped into a portal into the land without magic, which is how he meets Emma and knocks her up.
Balefire.
Yes.
Yes, to be clear.
Yes. So, yeah, and then Rumpel has to go through all of these plans and schemes to create a powerful curse to reach the land. And essentially, my understanding, I think, of the lore is that, like, it's Regina who actually makes the curse happen, but it's Rumpel who creates it.
Yes.
Yeah.
She, like, casts it, basically.
Yeah. Basically, Rumpelstiltskin is responsible for the majority of the events throughout the characters' histories. So, like, even, like, Prince Charming becoming Prince Charming is because Rumpelstiltskin gets involved. Like, everything that happens, essentially, to fuck up characters' lives in the fairy tale realm is because Rumpelstiltskin crossed their paths. Yeah, he orchestrated Regina's transformation into the evil queen, which led to her casting the Dark Curse. Essentially, his arc, once Bella's introduced in season 2, is like he battles between light and dark, and essentially the complaint that people have about his arc throughout the show is that it's like he does some good shit and then it's like, great, you're on the good side, and then he does some evil shit and then everyone's like, what the fuck, man? And then he does some good shit again. And it's just kind of back and forth like that.
Back and forth.
And eventually what happens in the arc of him and Belle is that Belle eventually dies of old age, but Rumpelstiltskin is like 200 years old, and he's like, I need to die. And so then he like goes on this quest to rid himself of his Dark One powers so that he can die. And then he gets into a confrontation with an alternate universe version of himself, and then sacrifices himself to save Captain Hook, and then is able to reunite with Belle in the afterlife because maybe it was Christian propaganda all along.
Hey!
A lot of people on Reddit compare his character to the Joker and call him the Joker with magic. A lot of the women who are attracted to him compare him to David Bowie in Labyrinth. I think all of these are insane.
The Joker one is fucking nuts. That's dumb. The vibe of David Bowie in Labyrinth, sure. I'll give them the vibe.
Because essentially, like, Mr. Gold is a character, it's very, like, suave and kind of conniving and methodical. He's sexy. And then Rumpelstiltskin is more of, like, a little chaos goblin who is just like, I would fucking fuck your shit up, fam. I also just love the voice he does because it's really easy to imitate.
Yeah, it's like,
it's just as throaty as you can get.
Snow White and Prince Charming, take off those hoods.
Yeah, I found a Reddit thread where someone was like, why am I so attracted to Rumple? And I thought one of the responses was really interesting, so I'm gonna send it to Mackenna to read it.
It's Hoff.pht. There's an allure. Okay, should I do it in the voice?
You know what? Fuck it. Sure.
You can be sexy without being attractive. Sexy is all about aura, attitude, confidence. Attractive is on the surface. Sexy is all about what you put on. Personal example. I found Gary Oldman and Alan Rickman ridiculously sexy. They're older than my dad. Not super attractive, but outrageously sexy.
So again, this is where...
Is Gary Oldman older than my dad?
Maybe.
Yes.
And so this was a Reddit thread where it was a lot of people just kind of being like, why do I find Rumpelstiltskin so fucking hot? And generally, I kept seeing these comparisons to, like, Alan Rickman specifically, which... I guess my gut reaction is I don't know if I agree that, like, Alan Rickman or Robert Carlyle are not attractive. Because the argument they're trying to make is that, like, these are men who are not attractive in a typical sense, but, like, their aura and everything about them makes them, like, sexy and alluring. And I'm just like, I just think that they're, like, hot in general.
Okay, number one, Alan Rickman is so fucking fine. Like, that one, for real, I'm like, okay, let's all, okay, I guess if you only have ever seen him as Snape with his, like, whatever he's got going on there, sure, but, like, we talked about Sense and Sensibility very briefly, like, he's so sexy. I think it might get into a thing that we have talked about offline before about men with big noses. And I guess I kind of talked about it a little. It like this weird thing that men who have big noses get deemed not attractive.
False.
And then they like
false.
It's the people being like Andy Samberg's a hear me out, and I'm like that traditionally attractive man who happens to be Jewish. And so I think that this like sort of dips its toes into that because Robert Carlyle doesn't necessarily have a big nose, but he has a very specific nose. Yeah. He has that it's very pointy. Mm-hmm. And so I think that might be part of where this is coming from. He's very Robert Carlyle. It's interesting that he's the crocodile because he's very like reptilian looking as a man and not in a bad way. Mm-hmm. But so it's actually interesting because I feel like the Tom Hiddleston as Loki comparisons are actually more apt appearance wise because Tom Hiddleston also has that like kind of reptilian features going on as well. And I mean both those things are positive. I love a man who looks a little bit like a lizard. Yeah, well, Benedict Cumberbatch also looks a little bit like a lizard.
Well, that's the thing is that this is why I keep going back to this point of like it's the type of character that like older women on Tumblr would really be into, like English guys with like a somewhat dark look, and it just makes the nerd girls go crazy.
Yeah. And I think that, like, also, I do think young people feel weird about being attracted to older men in media, which I understand. I understand that, being like, why am I attracted to this guy who's in his 40s, 50s? I feel weird about this, which I totally get. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that's also where part of it comes from. Like, saying, like, Alan Rickman isn't sexy, I think this person has to be around my age, right? Because if Alan Rickman and Gary Oldman are older than their dads, they probably because my dad is 61, and so it's like they're probably around my age, and so like I can imagine when 2011. So when this show started, I was 13, and so I can imagine at 13 I would have been like, what's going on? I don't understand. But as an adult, I'm like, no, I was 13 and the guy was hot.
See, I've always been a dad fucker. So it's just never It is well, I don't want to say it's never troubled me. I think I just told you. I used to have to pretend that I had a crush on characters who were not the dad characters in media because I didn't want people to think I was fucking weird.
Right, exactly.
So I think it is a little bit in that vein. And then I think it makes sense because if you're sort of like an older kind of nerd in a fandom, like those are actually characters who are probably more age appropriate anyway.
Yeah. I mean, famously for me, the hottest person in the Harry Potter movies was Lupin and Lupin and Tonks. I was like, get me in there. Get me in there.
Get me in that throuple.
Get me in there. That's even like less specific than, like in Snape. I got questions for the girls who want to have sex with Snape. I got questions. I don't want answers. I don't want to talk about Harry Potter, but I got questions.
Did you ever hear about the literal religion around the women who wanted to fuck Snape? And it was really similar to the whole reality shifting thing where they literally were like, we all go to this astral projected universe where we're all the wives of Snape, and it was like a whole community online.
God, this is just gonna get even weirder with the new one since he's a black man.
Well,
this is gonna get. There's gonna be some weird fetishistic white woman shit going on.
Oh no, I think it's just gonna be
weird
really
white
racist.
supremacist shit going on.
I think it's just gonna get super racist, unfortunately.
I think there will be two roads that diverge in a yellow wood, and both of them are going to be awful.
Yeah, nobody wants this.
No. Besides, millennials who can't let it go.
Let it go, millennials. Come on. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's really interesting to compare Rumple to the other guys. Like, Charming is just a straight up hot guy. Sorry. Hook is the flirty.
Oh, also Aubrey, eat some fucking crow about Josh Dallas. Have some goddamn hometown pride. That motherfucker's from Louisville, Kentucky.
You're kidding.
Apologize to him.
Oh my god. I couldn't
apologize to Josh Dallas.
He's probably been around.
He's your hometown fucking hero.
Oh my god, just like Jack Harlow.
Yes. You need to apologize to Josh Dallas.
You know what? Weirdly, it makes sense though, because I do think he does have that. He does got that Louisvillian look about him.
Yes.
When we first moved here, my husband was like, why do all the guys here look like Jack Harlow? And then the other day, he was like, hey, did you know that, incest used to be a really big problem here? And I was like, that's the stereotype, yes. And he was like, is that why all the guys look like Jack Harlow? And I was like, probably.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't agree. I think it's more environmental. It's like why all guys who we went to high school all looked the same.
Yes. It is just funny that he was like, oh my god. Because now every time he sees a Jack Harlow looking guy, he's like, oh my god, there's incest in the bloodline.
Cousin fuckers.
That is what Kentucky is stereotyped as, yes.
Yeah.
So I just find particularly the juxtaposition with Captain Hook and Rumple really interesting because Hook is the flirty bad boy. He's kind of the safe version of the fantasy, whereas Rumple is just a bad man.
He is just actually evil. I think it taps more like the Rumple Snape Kylo Ren. No, I don't even want to really put Loki in this category.
Or Spike from Buffy was another one I thought of too.
Yeah, I think it taps more into this it's not quite the girls who want to have sex with the serial killers, but we're flirting in that direction.
Well, I make a point of this later when I talk about it, but I'm just going to kind of jump ahead to it. I feel like it is the idea of this guy hates everyone except for me specifically, and everyone is afraid of him, but his biggest fear is losing me. And it's that sort of obsession and possession as love.
And let me just say, when I was 14 years old and was reading a lot of shit on Wattpad, I understand. When this is an adult woman, I'm like, hey, maybe we work on that.
Well, and that's where I have to kind of reflect on my own kind of feelings because truth be told, when I look at characters in media, I completely understand the appeal, and I myself am drawn to characters like that. And I recently was on one of the character AI apps because I was curious at what the user experience was like, because I had seen TikToks of these teens being like, I'm addicted to polybuzz, I don't know how to break out of it, blah blah blah. And so I used it for a little bit because I was like, I want to see what this user experience is like, especially compared to other similar apps. And And the thing that really stuck out to me is that when you get into these chats on Polybuzz, it's really similar themes of like, I'm obsessed with you. Like, I cannot stop thinking about you. I follow you around everywhere. It's a lot of the things that I remember Twilight was criticized for when I was a tween. And I don't know. I'm having a rough time kind of reconciling with it because, like, on one hand, like, I understand the fantasy and I also don't want to like yuck anybody's yum if it's like, yeah, like that's how you want to engage with like a fucking romance novel. Like, who am I to call that like bad or evil? But then I also see the ways that that kind of characterization reverberates into media for younger people that concerns me with like how they think about relationships and like what is appropriate in relationships. But I understand also that like depicting a like non-problematic relationship is like not entertaining media.
Yeah, and that's why I think there is a difference between being like, last night, while watching Wuthering Heights, the only time I was moved to horniness was from a man looking at a woman saying, I will never love you, I do not respect you, I'm only doing this to get back at the woman who I actually love, I will treat you like garbage, do you want me to stop? And I was like, he's asking for consent. But like, but I do think that like, I'm very aware of the fact that that was the moment that got me is something I need to be investigating, because that's not like, if I told you that I was dating a man who said that to me, you're putting me on a plane to Kentucky and conducting a wellness check.
But that's the thing though, right? Is that it's like, we're not engaging with it in real life, we're engaging with it in fantasy. And that's where I...
Are we not engaging in it in real life? I don't know about that one. I might be engaging in it in real life.
Well, I guess that's what I'm interested in kind of like unpacking a little bit. Is like this sort of thesis statement that like puts Rumple in with like Spike from Buffy, Loki, Snape, Kylo Ren, whatever. Like when you kind of amalgamate all these guys together, you have these like morally compromised villains who are emotionally excessive and usually intensely fixated on someone.
Yeah. I want to say, I don't think it's bad. I think that like having safe ways to engage in something is actually good. And like in media, that is a safe way to engage in something. I just think that like, I think a lot of people lock in on this and never think twice about it. And it's like, hey, if you find yourself consistently drawn to evil men in media, I think you need to like clock that in your brain and see how that is or is not carrying over into your day-to-day interactions. To like be very speculative right now, I think so often the interest in it from like a lot of like middle-aged women, or like not even middle-aged, just like women in unhappy marriages, is there is a level of like that fixation, that obsession is what is attractive to them, because that's the thing that they're missing. But it's like, you gotta be very careful with that, because like that can get scary really fast. And it is, I mean, like I draw the comparison to the serial killer thing, because I think a lot of the women who like write letters to serial killers are like, he would be different for me. And it's, I mean, I the other person who I almost brought up in this is that like Wade Wilson guy. For those of you who don't know who Wade Wilson is, he's like a fucked up criminal. I think he murdered a woman. He's the one who has the straight up swastika tattooed on his face, and yet people are still fucking horny for him. Yeah, so he murdered 2 women in Florida. But like all these girls on the internet are like horny for him. And it's like, hey, he murdered 2 women and has a swastika tattooed on his face. I think you have to be careful with it, because the thing that I often see with like Snape girlies specifically is they start like erasing all the fucked up shit he's done. And again, like it's like, I think there's like, you know, there are interesting, safe ways to engage in media, you know, and then, you know, I feel like there's you're astral projecting yourself in order to be having sex with the man from the book by the transphobe. I don't know. I feel like maybe you set higher standards for yourself. And but it's this like deep escapism thing. And I just, like with everything, I take shit too seriously. And I just think, and as someone who has horrific taste, I just think that like my horrific taste is also reflected in when I watch shit, the men that I'm attracted to, specifically. Is it only the men? Do I find myself attracted to horrible women in media? Well, I mean, in this show, Regina is kind of an equivalent. Like, I don't know, lesbians, let me know. Are you horny for Regina? Yeah, actually, I don't know. Why did I ask that? Yes. I think the thing is it's just like, it's like, for better or for worse, women, femme people have really rich imaginations. And so we just tend to be more locked into like any sort of like fan fiction or fan fiction adjacent space.
Yeah. I feel like this is actually the series I want to be doing. So we're gonna, I think, chalk this up to being a maybe prologue to, I guess we'll call it the Bad Boys series. Not Bad Boys. These are not.
They're bad guys. These are bad men.
These are bad men. These are bad men. Bad men.
The bad. I all I could think of was the intro to 2.5 Men, manly men. Ooh.
Yeah.
/ the television program Mad Men.
Yeah. They are bad men in Mad Men.
Yeah, pretty much entirely, actually.
Yeah. So that's where I think that maybe we'll just kind of wrap things up here. Really, it's just this, to me, the thing that is the most interesting about the Rumpelstiltskin character in Once Upon a Time is that he just fits into this trope that really we've been describing of, like, morally corrupt, emotionally excessive men. And what I think I want to unpack is how different pieces of media try to redeem and irredeem these types of characters. Me and Mackenna were talking a little bit off mic about how, Loki in the TV show kind of gets successfully redeemed.
Yeah.
Whereas Kylo Ren really does not. Spike from Buffy almost certainly does not.
Aubrey was telling me, I have not gotten really to Spike and Buffy, but Aubrey was like, well, he gets redeemed and then Joss Whedon does Joss Whedon shit, so.
Yeah. Anybody who's been through the epic highs and lows of Spike and Buffy, you know exactly the moment I'm referring to. So I think that we will just kind of explore that a little bit more and really get into like what is redemption in media and what does it mean when you want to turn your villain into one of the gang.
Aubrey, I have a really important question for you that I don't feel like I have asked explicitly enough in this episode.
Okay.
So does Rumpelstiltskin do it for you, or does Mr. Gold do it for you?
So Mr. Gold more so.
Okay.
However, when it's Rumple and Belle, in like specifically the episode where they're doing Beauty and the Beast, I get it.
You get it. Okay. Well, because I weirdly enough, okay. It's a real shame about the voice moment. Cause like I don't like the lizard skin doesn't freak me out. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Like that's okay. That's fine. That's okay. It's the I don't know that I could be having sexy time and had bounce that thing up and down on me crazy style. Like I don't know. I don't think I could handle that. It is much the way that I do feel about Nosferatu of like bounce on it crazy. Like I can't. What am I going to do with that?
Hilarious bit of lore is that the Rumpelstiltskin voice is inspired by Robert Carlyle's own son, because he would just...
I'm sorry to Robert Carlyle's son!
Well, him and his son would just, like, do goofy voices around the house. So I guess that was, like, one of the voices that his son would do, and he just found it really delightful. So he basically made that the voice of the character. I don't know if I've said this. We had a little bit of a flub in recording, so we'll see if I said this before, but, like, Robert Carlyle is doing award-winning acting on a soap opera. He is just acting at a level that is so high above everybody else, and it just makes it so entertaining and engaging to watch. He is one of those actors where I just feel how committed he is to every role that he does. And I was reading a little bit about his sort of acting method, and I have mixed feelings about like method acting and stuff like that, mostly because what people call method acting is not actually method acting. But Robert Carlyle, like when he plays somebody who is homeless, he like actually like went out and lived with people who were unhoused for a while. When he had to play a bus driver, he got certified to be a bus driver. And I just think that, like, that is a level of commitment that I find so interesting. And I don't know how much, like, having a bus driver license impacts your performance as a bus driver, right? But I think it speaks to the level of commitment that he has in being like, I want to understand the ins and outs of how this character lives when they're not on screen.
Yeah. Okay, I have 2 things I have to say now.
Okay.
Okay, so number 1, I went on to Reddit and I typed in, I Googled Rumpelstiltskin Once Upon a Time Reddit hot.
Exactly what I did!
What does being a smoothie mean?
What?
Someone commented he's a smoothie. Definitely a smoothie. It's all bad boy trope. Smoothie fan fiction term, maybe?
Huh?
I don't know. What does he's a smoothie mean? Oh, a smooth talking person, maybe?
Somebody's gonna be like, you fucking idiots!
I'm like, am I dumb? The other thing is, Aubrey, I did, upon doing that search, get a Tumblr post of a fan fiction that's Mr. Gold X female reader 18 plus ficlet titled The Debt Owed, fandom Once Upon a Time TV show pairing Mr. Gold Rumpelstiltskin X femme reader rating explicit 18 plus, warning / tags, age difference, older man, younger woman, dub con, don't know what that means, loss of virginity, jealousy, boinking your best friend's dad.
So, do you want to just read it right now?
Well, it's really long, so we're not going to read it right now. Basically, but as I'm reading it, because I'm reading it, it is you're working at their house as a housekeeper, and then he calls you in, and okay, we're going to read a little bit of we're going to read a little bit of it.
Let's fucking go! And to be clear, we're not reading this to like dunk on the fanfiction author.
No.
Fanfic authors keep fandoms alive and are good people. We are, this is like a social thing to be like, what is in the mind of somebody who wants to fuck Rumpelstiltskin, like me, Aubrey Hoffer.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Okay, I'm trying to decide what part of this I want to read. I'm just going to send you this. I'm going to tell you to go to a part, and we're just going to read an amount of it.
Great.
And I want you to scroll down to where it says, you've been here a few days now.
Okay.
And Aubrey, you also can decide, do you want to play Mr. Gold, or do you want to play female insert character?
I have lived my life being Y/N. So
Okay.
You can be Mr. Gold and I will be Y/N.
Okay, I'm not doing an accent.
Well, then what's the goddamn point?
Well, hold on. Can I be a British man right now?
He's Scottish!
I can't do a Scottish accent. Oi, it's Scottish! Then you're gonna be getting this from me, you're getting Shrek.
Fuck
You
it.
want Shrek from me, love?
Close enough.
Okay, I got it.
You locked in?
I'm not doing an accent.
Okay.
All right. Did you?
I'm there.
I will also read. Well, do you want to read the narration, or do you want me to read the narration?
I'll read the narration.
Okay, great. You've been here a few days now. I was wondering how you settled. Is everything to your liking? I'm almost doing Irish. I'm working on it.
You saw the curious way he looked at you, head tilted ever so slightly as he studied you. He reminded you of Bay so much, but then older and with more confidence. You quickly nodded. Yes, everything is fine, you confirmed, glad to have been given a spacious room and all the hospitality you could expect. Thank you, Mr. Gold. You're very generous. The man's eyes lit up.
Generous,
he mused, and you wondered for a moment if you should have used a different term. But then he smiled warmly at you. He placed his right hand on the desk and ran his thumb past the stacked papers.
I'm glad to hear that. Now,
straight back to business, you thought.
I wanted to discuss the chores that I expect you to fulfill while you're here.
You thought you already knew them all.
I sound like Andrew Scott, by the way. I'm eating this up.
My heart rate is increasing. we should have put me on a heart rate monitor before this. You thought you already knew them all, having been presented with a list even before your arrival. Yet you nodded, eager to do your best. Mr. Gold's smile remained, but his eyes darted to his hands, almost as if he were shy to continue his talk with you.
Apart from the chores I've already assigned you, I will need a little more from you,
he said, a little lilt to his voice. You blinked, hurt that he was asking for more when you clearly gave it all you got. Sir, I won't ever do anything less than my best. I assure you, I have been working hard. Here, he cut you off by raising his hand in the air, a signal for you to be silent. His brown eyes set upon you, and then his smile returned as if you needed the comfort.
I know you are a serious and hard worker, dear.
But something about his smile changed. It tightened, teeth showing like a predator's grin.
A bit of a perfectionist, really, but that is not what I meant.
He looked at you then, eyes burning with such intensity that you felt your heart skip a beat. What did his gaze mean?
I see.
He then said, sighing while he shook his head. His brown hair dangled, again, so much like his son's, but longer and with the first signs of gray peeking in between. You were glad that he averted his eyes, if only for a moment. It meant that you could breathe again. His gaze had been that intense, and something about his presence made you feel on edge, as if something determinedly bad was about to happen. But then his eyes returned to meet yours, and you felt as if your chest constricted once more.
Such an innocent creature, I had not thought it to be possible.
The words were murmured as if he spoke to himself rather than you, and you frowned. What did he think was innocent about you? But then he spoke up again, dark eyes firmly upon you, leaving you no doubt that he was addressing you this time, that you had to listen carefully to every word he said.
I am not only asking you to make my bed, I am also asking you to warm it.
You felt your jaw grow slack, lips parted in surprise. Excuse me? You asked, thinking you heard him wrong. Surely not. Surely your best friend's father wasn't making such a dishonorable proposition.
We can skip some of this narration.
Okay.
He started for a moment. You thought you had indeed misheard him. I said I am asking, but it isn't a request. It is a demand.
With another step backward, you stumbled. You gasped for air. Mr. Gold, you stammered. Surely you're joking. I can't. You had to reach out your hands to keep your balance, but quickly brought them back to your chest once you found your footing again.
Can't or won't?
Mr. Gold sneered. His smile was still there, but did not reach his eyes. You saw how his fingertips curled around the head of his cane, as if he was earthing himself.
Doesn't matter. This is a part of this is a part of the task assigned to you. Like it or not, you will do this to the best of your capabilities.
He added, and then your world came to a halt. Surely this isn't part of your contract, you stammered. But then his smile seemed to harden.
Did you think this was an ordinary job? Did you sign a contract to be here?
You hesitated while you thought hard. Wait a minute. No, I didn't, you stammered, suddenly understanding the implication.
Exactly. And that was because your father owes me $5 million.
You felt as if your heart stopped. $5 million? Why so much? What did he needed it for? Besides, you didn't have that money at home. How on earth were you supposed to pay this man back? You tripped over your own words, unable to form full sentences, but Mr. Gold was patient with you and watched you in silence. He allowed you to finish whatever it was you wanted to say. But I don't understand. You knew your father had been squandering money, but for it to have reached this scale, how have you not noticed? So I am payment? You finally said, realizing that somehow you had been traded off. This is literally, you got sold the One Direction fanfiction.
Yep, it is.
I love it. Mr. Gold was watching you, unmoving.
In a way, yes, dear. Okay, and so then basically he's like, yes, do whatever you want, and if you don't, then Dad's gonna go to jail.
Holy
blah, blah,
shit,
blah, blah,
this
blah.
is
We're
long.
scrolling. I know we're not gonna read it. My favorite part is, you wondered how he could sound so casual about all of this, how his voice could remain so light and gentle when he knew you had it cornered, when he knew he was gonna force you to have sex with him. Blah, 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 we're gonna fuck, blah, 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 he's got a big old honking dick. What was the part that I read that I was like, I wanted to read? Okay. Okay, Aubrey, can you please get to, you grunted?
Of course. You grunted and threw your head back. It was too much. He was too much. Your back arched on the desk when the head of his cock pressed inside, but it was difficult for him to breach you. Your vaginal walls clamped down on him like a vice, trying to push him out. You could see the frown on his face as he tried to push in and felt resistance, but he didn't withdraw. Oh no!
Blah, blah, blah. He says you're incredibly tight. Then he's balls deep inside suddenly, because of course he is. And then my favorite part, a virgin. Lucky me, indeed. And then we keep going. There's so much sex. This thing is fucking long. And it ends with, first time of Stockholm syndrome is all.
Great.
Anyway, I just thought we had to. When I found this, I was like, we gotta read a little bit of this. So thank you to user Jokering Q Show for that fun little time. I hope everyone goes and reads this fan fiction from 2023.
You know what? And it was hot. And I'm really happy for you that you are able to express your sexuality in that way.
Yes!
Fanfiction fanfic writers are the backbones of communities.
They are. I mean, listen, I don't think I would be the little freak that I am today had I not read a lot of, I read a lot of grown-up Renesmee and Jacob fanfiction on fanfiction.net when I was a teenager.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of gay shit.
I didn't read a I read a lot of gay shit on literotica.com. That was just straight up porn. I mean, not the stuff on fanfiction wasn't straight up porn, but there wasn't even any pretense with literotica. That was just porn.
I was reading Lemons on Quizilla.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about Quizilla before.
Yeah.
Quizilla changed me.
Yeah.
Quizilla made me convinced that it was better to have sex in a chair than on a bed, and let me tell you, Quizilla was wrong.
Quizilla 7 Minutes in Heaven quizzes. Was anyone else there? Was anyone else locked in?
Any other sad girls in chat? We weren't kissing real boys and girls. We were kissing people on the internet.
My favorite was always, it would be like 7 Minutes in Heaven, emo boys, and then you would like click on one and it would just be a random picture of some fucking emo guy from like MySpace or something, and it would be like, you hadn't talked to Caleb very much, but he
No, not Caleb. You haven't talked to Blaze in a while. It's always Blaine, Blaze, Krypton, I don't know.
Hey, the emo boy who looked
Jacob Elordi.
The emo boy who looked like that at my school was named Trevor.
Was that at our school or at your school?
When I was like in middle school, there was a true emo boy with the emo haircut and the little purple zip-up hoodie, smoked weed.
I'm an emo kid. I'm nonconformist as can be. You'd be nonconformist too if you look just like me. I have paint on my nails and makeup on my face. I'm almost emo enough to start shaving my legs. I could keep going.
Keep going.
Do you know the song?
No.
I feel real cool when I'm dressing in drag. I call it freedom of expression. Girls just call me a slur. Our dudes look like girls. Our girls look like slur. Because emo is just another word for slur. A lot of slurs in that song.
Yeah. People forget that it was not cool to be emo.
It was always cool to me. Alex whatever from Tumblr, that one guy who I was obsessed with when I was 14. It was always cool to me.
Oh my god, was that the guy with the super bright blue eyes?
Yeah.
I love it. I miss him. What's he doing right now?
Probably just being a guy.
Probably, unfortunately, has an underage girlfriend. I feel like that...
No!
or was actually gay. That was kind of like, which way, emo boy? Actually gay or 16-year-old girlfriend when you're 27?
Or both.
Oh no!
Have a question or a topic that you would like for us to discuss? Send us an email at informedattraction@gmail.com.